Joshua Thomas Sargent, you cheeky little devil. My goodness, didn't see this one coming. Welcome back, everyone. Jack Reeve, Talk Norwich City. Grab your morning coffee and take a sip. Take a sip. Just let that sink in. Josh Sargent, still very much a Norwich City player. I might even delete that video from a few days ago where it looked like Josh Sargent to Wolfsburg was a done deal. Wrapped up, finito. Enjoy the Bundesliga, Josh. No, that's not happening. Big news coming out of Norwich City last night. The dust has somewhat settled, so I thought it would be a good time to talk about it. Josh Sargent to Wolfsburg is no more, for the moment. Now, the reports last week were that a deal was agreed for £21 million. That was the complete package. Wolfsburg had been interested in Sargent for quite some time, and they'd finally got to a price that Norwich City thought was satisfactory. And that was a thing. That was very much a thing. Wolfsburg were in. Sargent was kind of happy to go out and play in the Bundesliga, but things have fallen through. Now, I did wonder if something slightly fishy was going on, because Josh Sargent keeps playing football matches for Norwich City in pre-season. Now, that might not seem overly peculiar, but if you were, about to move to the Bundesliga with Wolfsburg, would you really be risking pre-season football with the club that you're no longer going to be at? Maybe. Josh Sargent is an absolute professional. I think we'll get onto that shortly as to why that really plays into Norwich City's hands. But on, Wednesday the 23rd of July, it was announced from, I think it was German sources first, and then Paddy Davitt of the Pinken, that this deal has fallen through. Now, it was originally reported from the German press that it was Wolfsburg that had backed out of the deal. They had said that that they weren't happy with the prices being quoted, they weren't able to get to, and they weren't willing to get to the amount that Norwich City want. The Pinken are going with a slightly different angle and saying that it was down to the player, Josh Sargent. They said that the Canaries' current player of the season is believed to have had the final decision in the last 48 hours with the two clubs in advanced negotiations with a package around £20 million. Now, this is interesting. You can look at this in a couple of ways. I think the first thing to say is I am still very much in the mindset of the Delia Smith, Michael Wynne-Jones era of a bid comes in, we accept it, we let them go, and we probably don't reinvest all of the money. All right? And that was fine. That was our financial situation that got us to where we are now. It saved the football club. I am incredibly grateful for Delia and Michael's tenure at this football club. It brought a huge amount of success, and it had its downfalls as well. But when big clubs came in for our big players, there was only one ending. It was that we would sell them, and we would probably sell them for under market value. That's how it happened. That's how it went. So I'm still in the mindset of, okay, Bundesliga club, coming for Josh Sargent. Yes, I know they finished like 18th last season, but he'll go there for 20 million quid, which actually I thought was an okay sum. No, I'm so wrong. I am so wrong to assume that. This is Ben Napper. This is Mark Atanasio era. This is where we demand top dollar for our players, and if we want a player, we'll just make it happen. We'll bully teams aside. We will make players come to Norwich City. There's also been a transfer confirmation. We'll get onto that in a moment. This is a different era at Norwich City. We need to get used to it quickly. Could Josh Sargent still leave this window? Probably. He probably will leave, right? Will we get top dollar for him? Yes, we will. We absolutely will. We've negotiated well in terms of the transfer fee, and we've negotiated well with Josh Sargent in the past in order to get him into a contract situation where we have the power here. It's 3 years left on his deal. There's no time concerns here. No time concerns at all. So at this current moment, Josh Sargent is still very much a Norwich City player. Now, you've seen here, Burnley and Leeds still very much interested. Burnley with a club alongside Wolfsburg who are kind of going toe for toe. I'm sure we'll see them come back in now. Leeds, I mean, that's been rumbling on for 18 months. That's obviously the Daniel Farke link. That makes a lot of sense in my head, Sargent to Leeds. Who knows? That rumour's kind of gone quiet recently, but they're still being reported by Sky Sports. And I've left Wolfsburg in there because, well, Still interested, but can't see that one happening now. So I think you can look at this one in two ways. You can say Sargent has pulled out of this deal because he didn't see Wolfsburg being the right club for him. And, he wants to be working under a project, under the American ownership of the Atenasios, under Liam Manning in a really good side that has the potential to get promoted to the Premier League this season. And he was guaranteed to start week in, week out. Put yourself in the American World Cup limelight that way, all right? Or you could look at it in the way, and probably the way I'm looking at as a pessimist with losing our big players. Josh Sargent knows there's other clubs out there that are in for him, that are bigger and better than Wolfsburg, that he wants to now move to them. Now, I think whatever side of that opinion you take, the nice thing with Josh Sargent is he's not going to throw the toys out of the pram. This isn't a situation like Johnny Rowe, where, and even maybe Borja Sainz to an extent, where that if you don't sell that player, there could potentially be trouble, right? They're not going to play in Johnny Rowe's case. Or with Borja Sainz, you knew that it had gone off the boil a bit. His head was elsewhere. He didn't necessarily cause trouble, but you just knew that letting them go was the best thing for club, player, and buying club as well. That's not the case with Josh Sargent. He has been playing pre-season football for Norwich City. Liam Manning has said he's more than happy to be playing pre-season football for Norwich City. He has captained Norwich City in these pre-season fixtures. He is actively wanting to play for this football club out in the Netherlands at the moment. All right, so that's not a problem. Don't worry about Josh Sargent chucking the toys out of the pram. The only way that Josh Sargent gets a move away from this football club this summer is if a club comes in for a pretty punchy price. Say that early in the morning. Will that happen? Potentially. The rumoured fee that Wolfsburg were willing to pay was about 21 million pounds. And actually, in my head, that seems about fair. We've gone through the reasons. His injury record over the past couple of years hasn't really proven himself in the top tier of England. Bloody bar, hasn't played international football, etc. But on form, the best number 9 in the Championship, no doubt about that. So this is a real twist, and what we don't want to happen is this to rumble on and rumble on and rumble on. You want a kind of conclusion either way, but we are in a situation now where this has the potential to rumble on. And also, spare a thought for Matthias Kvistgaard. Spare a thought for Ante Cianats. They're suddenly seeing their pathway to that number 9 place being blocked off. Joshua Thomas Sargent is still in the building, right? And actually, where on earth do you fit all of these players in? Mate Jurasec on the right. Josh Sargent through the middle. Matthias Kvistgaard on the left. Or Pape Diallo. Watch the headlines for that. That's going to be confirmed soon, right? So then, where does Ante Cianats fit in? Where does Oscar Schwartau fit in? Where does Amangwa Forsen fit in? Where does Pape Diallo fit in? I don't know. That's a good problem to have, though. That's what Liam Manning's paid the big bucks for. This is a really interesting one. Josh Sargent, I was convinced that he was going. All right, and I keep flip-flopping. I remember about 4 weeks ago, I was sat here going, I don't think he's going. I think we're keeping him. Wolfsburg come in, bang, right hook. Yeah, I'm on the canvas. We're losing our best player. I'm putting on a brave face, but I'm devastated that our ginger striker is leaving. And now I'm looking at this going, okay, well, Burnley, Leeds, MLS teams, come and have a conversation with Mr. Napper. I wouldn't want to be having a one-on-one negotiation with Mr. Napper, by the way. He's a scary individual. Yeah, he demands top dollar for our players. You can have a go if you want. Have a go at Ben Napper. Stick 19 million quid on the table and see what he says. It's not going to be a pretty response. So, good luck to the teams in for Josh Sargent. Good luck to you. It's going to take a bit. Watch this space on this one. This is going to be developing. And all I can say at the moment is Josh Sargent is very much a Norwich City player. Will he be a Norwich City player come the end of this transfer window? I'd still say it's unlikely. But the likelihood of him being a Wolfsburg player has gone from 99.9% to about 1%. So there we are. Josh Sargent, still in the building, still a Norwich City player. Tell you who else is a Norwich City player right now. Jeffrey Schlupp, done deal, free transfer, left back. You'll all know Jeffrey Schlupp. He's been about for donkeys. He's played the last decade in the Premier League. Formerly of Crystal Palace, spent last season on loan at Celtic and actually did a pretty good job there. Played nearly 20 times. He is 32 years old, and he is probably being deemed as a backup for Crescene, as a backup for Lucian Mahovo. But I like this deal. It's low risk. It's a 1-year deal. What could go wrong? You're bringing in an experienced player who is still clearly wanting to play football and do well. He's not, we've not signed him up on some stupid 3-year deal that will keep him here till he's 35 years old. If it works out, he may well get another year. If it doesn't, it was low risk and you have the backup. That left side is probably the part of the pitch that you would say is most kind of non-conclusive at the moment, inconclusive, whatever word you want to use. Let me have another sip of my coffee while I think about Josh Sargent and Jeffrey Schlupp. Mahovo's currently injured. Crescene, as you would say, still pretty unproven at championship level. I like this deal, right? Is it one I'm screaming and running down the road telling everyone that we've just signed Jeffrey Schlupp? No. Is it one that gets me kind of nodding and going, clever bit of business? Yeah, I think it is. It's a recognised name, experienced, has played at a very good level, and comes here still. This isn't a guy looking to top up his pension pot. This is a guy that's, yes, he's older than what we've gone for so far, but he's not ancient. The legs are still there. If he plays 10 times next season and fills in well, then you could probably say that that's a deal well done. So Jeffrey Schlupp's in the building. As we said earlier this week, I think there's going to be more confirmations this week. I think Pape Diallo gets announced at some stage, so keep an eye on that. And it's going to be interesting as well to see what happens with either Pele Matson or Topic. I am quickly, and I don't think I like it, becoming quite in-depth and reading a lot about sort of work permits and ESC slots. I mean, it's the most dull thing ever, right? But it is quite fascinating. And I think with Pele Matson, that is the issue at the moment. And that's an issue they're trying to overcome, about those ESC slots and how many you get, and is he, applicable for a work permit, etc., etc. We support football to watch entertaining football, not get caught up in technicalities over work permits. So I'll leave that to those that know more. But Pele Matson, I think, still very much one that Norwich City are looking at. And I guess we'll end the video by taking a look at a reminder of what's happened so far this window. It's been very busy. I mean, I'm shattered, but I'm fueled by adrenaline and excitement. Lots of signings coming in. Jacob Wright, Kovacevic, Jakov Medic, Harry Darling, Dan Grimshaw, Louis Molden. You've obviously now brought in Matthias Kvistgård, Jeffrey Schlupp. There we go, on time. And Borja Science at the moment still the only player that's leaving that door. I thought that would be updated to Josh Sargent, 21 million pounds to Wolfsburg. No, I was very wrong. Sargent still in the building, Jeffrey Schlupp in the building, Pape Diallo soon to be in the building, Pele Matson, watch this space, and Josh Sargent, who knows what's going to happen there. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.